Welcome to My English Podcast.
Learn, practice, and speak with confidence.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to My English Podcast. I'm Max.
And I'm Mia. We're so happy you're here.
Today, we have an exciting topic. We'll talk about social connections and communication skills.
That's right. Our focus is on how to engage in meaningful conversations and how to network.
Networking is important for personal growth. It can help you find new opportunities. It can also help you build strong relationships.
But we're not just talking about the subject itself. We'll also look at some English vocabulary tips.
Yes, we'll share some useful words and idioms. We want to help you speak more naturally in English.
We also have a special guest. She is our friend and expert in communication.
Please welcome Mrs. Tina. She's a communication coach and an experienced mentor.
Hi, Mrs. Tina. Thank you for joining us today.
Hello, Max and Mia. Thank you for inviting me. I'm happy to share my thoughts on social connections and communication skills.
Perfect. This episode will cover a lot. We'll talk about why social connections matter. We'll share tips on how to start conversations. We'll explore how to make those conversations more meaningful.
Yes, and we'll also discuss some English vocabulary. Mrs. Tina will explain certain words as we go.
That's right. Let's jump in. But first, here's a quick overview.
We'll discuss the basics of making friends, meeting new people, and building trust.
We'll talk about how to be a good listener. We'll also discuss good questions to ask.
Then, we'll touch on networking, both in person and online.
And while we do all that, we'll introduce useful English phrases.
So if you're ready, let's start with the basics. Why are social connections important?
Social connections are about relationships. They give our lives meaning. They help us share our joys and face our challenges.
When we have strong connections, we feel less lonely. We have people to talk to. We feel like we belong somewhere.
Exactly. Humans are social beings. We need contact with others to grow. Through these connections, we learn empathy and compassion.
Empathy is the ability to understand someone else's feelings. Compassion is about caring and wanting to help.
When we connect with people, we build empathy and compassion. We see the world through different eyes.
Let's introduce our first vocabulary word, rapport.
Rapport. That's spelled R-A-P-P-O-R-T. It means a friendly, harmonious relationship.
That's correct. Rapport is about mutual understanding and trust. It's the comfortable feeling you get with someone you get along with.
So building rapport is key to any meaningful conversation. It helps break down barriers.
Yes. Let's talk about barriers for a moment. Often, we don't talk to people because we feel shy or uncertain.
True. Or sometimes we think the other person won't be interested.
That's where confidence matters. Even a small boost in confidence can help you take the first step.
Let's discuss that first step. Usually, it's just saying hello or hi.
Yeah, a simple greeting. Then maybe a friendly question.
Like, how are you? Or, how's your day going?
It seems small, but it opens the door. Once the door is open, the conversation can start.
Exactly. And here's another vocabulary tip, the term icebreaker.
An icebreaker is something that helps you start a conversation when you meet someone new.
Yes. It can be a casual question, a compliment, or a shared experience.
For example, if you're at a conference, an icebreaker might be, have you attended this event before?
Or, what do you think of the keynote speaker so far?
Those questions help you find common ground. That's another phrase we often use, common ground.
Common ground means shared interests, experiences, or opinions. It's what we have in common that brings us together.
When we find common ground, we feel connected. We see that we are not so different.
Let's share some personal stories. Mia, do you have one about meeting new people?
Sure. One time, I attended a book club. I didn't know anyone there. I felt nervous at first. But I approached a person who was also standing alone. I asked, "What do you like to read?"
Good question. That's simple but direct.
Yes, it was. She smiled and told me she loved mystery novels. I also enjoyed mysteries, so we talked about our favorite authors. Suddenly, the conversation flowed. I made a new friend that night.
That's a perfect example. You found common ground through books.
Exactly. Now we still share book recommendations. It started with one short question.
That's the power of an icebreaker. It leads you to shared experiences.
How about you, Mrs. Tina? Any personal story about building connections?
Sure. Years ago, I moved to a new city. I knew nobody, but I decided to join a local volunteer group. On my first day, I introduced myself to the team. I said, "Hi, I'm Tina. I'm new here and ready to help. How can I contribute?"
That's nice. You were proactive.
Yes, I was. The group welcomed me. They were happy to show me around. We painted classrooms, organized supplies, and planned events. Through that, I met many wonderful people. I also gained friends who shared my interest in community service.
So volunteering helped you connect?
Absolutely. Shared activities break the ice. You work together and learn about each other.
I think that's a great tip. If you want to meet new people, join a group that does something you love.
That's right. Could be a sports team, a chess club, or a cooking class.
Yes, you instantly share a common interest.
Also, you practice your English if you're in an English-speaking environment.
Exactly. Opportunities to speak English in real-life situations are priceless.
Let's move on to another key point: listening skills.
Listening is essential. Many people think good communication is about speaking well, but it's also about listening well.
If you don't listen, you won't know what to say next. You won't understand the other person's point of view.
True. Good listeners ask follow-up questions. They show genuine interest.
That's where active listening comes in. Active listening means paying full attention. It means nodding, giving feedback, and avoiding distractions.
Exactly. If someone says, "I love painting," you might respond with, "Wow, that's interesting. What kind of painting do you do?"
Yes, that keeps the conversation going. It encourages the other person to share more.
This helps you build rapport too. It shows respect and genuine curiosity.
Another useful phrase is, "Tell me more." It invites the other person to open up.
Right. It signals that you care about their thoughts.
And never underestimate the power of a warm smile and good eye contact. Those nonverbal signals also matter.
Let's address some challenges now. Many people fear starting conversations. They worry they might say the wrong thing.
That's where active listening comes in. Active listening means paying full attention. It means nodding, giving feedback, and avoiding distractions.
Exactly. If someone says, "I love painting," you might respond with, "Wow, that's interesting. What kind of painting do you do?"
Yes, that keeps the conversation going. It encourages the other person to share more.
This helps you build rapport too. It shows respect and genuine curiosity.
Another useful phrase is, "Tell me more." It invites the other person to open up.
Right. It signals that you care about their thoughts.
And never underestimate the power of a warm smile and good eye contact. Those nonverbal signals also matter.
Let's address some challenges now. Many people fear starting conversations. They worry they might say the wrong thing.
Yes. Or they worry about rejection. They think, what if the other person doesn't like me?
It's natural to feel nervous. But remember, not every conversation will lead to a deep friendship. That's okay.
Right. Some chats might be brief, some might not click. That's part of life.
But if you never try, you never know. Sometimes, a short conversation can lead to a lifelong friend.
That's very true. Also, if you speak English as a second language, you might be afraid of making mistakes.
Yes, that's common. But mistakes are part of learning. Don't let fear hold you back from speaking.
Exactly. Focus on communicating. People will appreciate your effort.
Another challenge is not knowing what to talk about.
In that case, have a few topics ready. Current events, a hobby, or something happening around you. You can even comment on the weather or the location.
Isn't this cafe cozy? Or have you tried the pastry here? Something like that.
Yes, exactly. Then see how the other person responds.
Also, remember the power of compliments. A genuine compliment can warm up a conversation. For example, "I love your jacket," or "Your presentation was great."
Just make sure it's sincere. People can tell when a compliment isn't genuine.
Let's shift to networking. Networking is about building professional relationships.
Yes, it's not just collecting business cards. It's forming real connections that can help you and the other person grow.
That's important. Networking involves mutual benefit, not just what can I get from you.
Correct. A real network is built on trust and respect. You help others and they help you.
Exactly. Networking can happen anywhere, at conferences, workshops, online forums, or even social media.
People often focus on LinkedIn for professional networking. It's a good platform to connect with colleagues and experts.
Right. But remember to add a personal touch. If you send a connection request, include a short, friendly note.
Something like, "Hi, I attended your webinar. I found your tips very useful. I'd love to connect."
That shows genuine interest. It's not a random, generic request.
Exactly. Then, once you're connected, keep in touch. Comment on their posts. Share useful resources. Ask relevant questions.
That's how you stay on their mind. And over time, you build a stronger relationship.
Let's also mention the phrase professional courtesy.
Good point. Professional courtesy means treating others with respect in a business or work setting.
Yes, things like being polite, responding to messages promptly, and being clear about your intentions.
Now let's share some English idioms related to communication and connections.
Sure, one idiom is to break the ice. We mentioned this idea earlier. It means to start a conversation in a social setting.
Another one is hit it off. It means to get along with someone very quickly.
Right. If you meet someone and you have a great chat right away, you can say, "We really hit it off."
Another phrase is keep in touch. It means to continue communicating with someone, often said at the end of a meeting or conversation.
For example, if you meet someone at a seminar, you can say, "Let's keep in touch."
Yes. That's an invitation to stay connected, perhaps by email or social media.
One more idiom is small talk. That's a short, light conversation about general topics, like the weather, sports, or basic news.
Small talk is often the first step before deeper conversation.
Exactly. Small talk helps us warm up to each other. It can lead to meaningful talk later.
Let's sum up some practical tips. First, be approachable. Smile and use open body language.
Second, have a friendly greeting ready. Something simple like, "Hi, how's your day?"
Third, ask open-ended questions. They encourage longer answers. For example, how did you get into that field? Instead of, do you like your job?
Fourth, listen actively. Nod, maintain eye contact, and ask follow-ups.
Fifth, share a bit about yourself. But don't dominate the conversation.
Sixth, watch for nonverbal signals. Look for cues that show interest or boredom.
Seventh, be authentic. People appreciate honesty and sincerity.
Eighth, learn to wrap up conversations politely. For instance, "It's been great talking to you. I hope we can continue this chat another time."
Ninth, follow up if you want to keep in touch. Send a message or email mentioning the chat.
Yes, that's how you move from a one-time meeting to an ongoing relationship.
Now let's dive deeper into communication skills. Sometimes, meaningful conversations go beyond small talk.
Yes, they involve empathy, vulnerability, and genuine interest.
Exactly. When you share a bit of your own story, people feel they can trust you.
That's right. But share only what you're comfortable with. You don't have to reveal everything.
A meaningful conversation often involves personal insights, like talking about goals, fears, dreams.
Yes, but that depends on the context. With new acquaintances, start slowly. Over time, you can go deeper.
Also, be ready to support others. If someone shares a challenge, offer empathy.
Yes, sometimes people just need to be heard.
That's correct. A simple phrase like, "That sounds tough," shows empathy. Then you can ask, "Is there any way I can help?" Or, "Would you like to talk about it more?"
These kinds of responses make conversations meaningful. They show you truly care.
That's where active listening comes in. Active listening means paying full attention. It means nodding, giving feedback, and avoiding distractions.
One key is having transition words or phrases. For example, actually, by the way, that reminds me, or speaking of that.
These small phrases help link ideas. They make your speech flow.
Yes. They also give you a second to think before moving on to the next point.
Another tip is to use filler phrases when you need a moment to gather thoughts. Like, let me think, or let's see, or That's a good question.
Like, let me think, or let's see, or that's a good question.
Correct. These are polite ways to pause without silence.
Also, don't be afraid of small pauses. Sometimes we rush to fill the silence.
Yes, silence can be natural. It gives the other person time to reflect.
Exactly. Don't panic if there is a short silence. Just smile and see if the other person wants to say something.
And always keep your sentences clear and concise. That helps non-native speakers too.
Indeed, clarity is king in communication. Short sentences, simple words, direct meanings.
Another key point is balance. In a conversation, you should speak and listen in a balanced way.
If you speak too much, the other person can't share. If you only listen, you might seem disinterested in sharing your own views.
The best conversations are like a dance. You take turns naturally.
Yes, that's a great metaphor. If you step on someone's toes, it won't be fun anymore.
Exactly. Let the other person finish their sentence. Then respond.
And if you have a new topic, you can say, "That's really interesting. It also makes me think about," then introduce your point.
That way, the other person feels heard. You also get to add your ideas smoothly.
Let's touch on body language briefly. It's a huge part of communication.
Yes, your posture, gestures, and facial expressions matter. If you're slouching and looking at the floor, you seem uninterested.
If you cross your arms tightly, you might appear closed off.
Meanwhile, open palms, a slight lean forward, and a relaxed stance show engagement.
Also, the tone of your voice matters. Speak clearly, not too fast.
A calm, friendly tone invites others to listen. A harsh or loud tone can push people away.
Now, let's discuss online communication. Many of us network on the internet.
Virtual events, webinars, social media groups, these are all places to connect.
True. The same rules apply. Be polite, show genuine interest, and contribute helpfully.
When joining an online group, introduce yourself briefly. Let people know why you're there.
Yes, and respond to posts in a kind, thoughtful way. Don't just say "great post" all the time. Add some insight or a question.
Exactly. For example, I agree with your point about time management. One technique I use is the Pomodoro method. Have you tried it?
That invites further discussion. It also shows you have something valuable to share.
And if you're networking in a virtual conference, use the chat function wisely. Ask clear, concise questions to the speakers.
Yes, but don't spam the chat with random comments. Stay on topic.
Absolutely. Keep it professional yet friendly. That's where professional courtesy comes in again.
What about difficult conversations? Sometimes we face disagreements or conflicts.
That can be awkward, but it's part of real communication.
A good approach is to stay calm. Don't raise your voice. Use respectful language.
If you disagree, you can say, "I see your point. However, I have a different view."
Yes, or I understand what you mean. My experience suggests something else, though.
Exactly. Acknowledge the other side, then present your perspective.
Also, don't take things personally. Sometimes disagreements are just about ideas, not personal attacks.
Yes, and listen carefully. You might learn something new, even if you disagree.
Indeed. Stay open-minded. That's a sign of strong communication skills.
Let's also consider cultural sensitivity. When we connect with people from different backgrounds, we should respect their culture.
Absolutely. This might mean understanding certain gestures or ways of speaking that differ from ours.
Yes, or being mindful about topics that might be sensitive. For example, some cultures avoid discussing politics or personal questions right away.
Correct. It's best to follow the other person's cues. Ask polite questions if you're unsure.
And if someone seems uncomfortable, change the topic or apologize. Respect is key.
Mrs. Tina, could we do a quick recap of some English words and idioms we used?
Of course. We used rapport, friendly understanding. We mentioned common ground, shared interests. We also talked about icebreaker, a way to start conversations.
We introduced small talk, like conversation. Then we said break the ice, to ease into a conversation.
Hit it off, to get along well. Keep in touch, to stay in contact.
And active listening, fully focusing on the speaker. Plus, professional courtesy, respectful behavior in a work context.
Also, we discussed filler phrases like, let me think, or that's a good question.
Yes, and we talked about cultural sensitivity, body language, and the importance of a genuine compliment.
Exactly. These terms help you communicate more effectively in English.
Let's talk about how to apply these tips daily. It doesn't have to be at a big event. It can be with friends or even neighbors.
Yes, you could start a small chat at the grocery store. Or ask a coworker about their weekend.
True. The more you practice, the easier it becomes. Over time, you'll feel more comfortable.
Also, practice listening. Resist the urge to look at your phone when someone speaks.
Absolutely. Give people your full attention, even if it's just for a short conversation.
And if you're a language learner, practice the phrases we discussed. Use them in real life when possible.
Yes, don't just memorize them. Actually try them in context.
That's how you build confidence and fluency.
We covered a lot today. Let's summarize the main points.
Social connections are vital for our well-being. They help us share, learn, and grow.
Communication skills are key. Start with simple greetings, use icebreakers, and find common ground.
Listen actively. Ask open-ended questions. Show empathy.
Networking is about building professional relationships. Be genuine, follow up, and offer help when you can.
Online networking follows the same rules. Be polite, interesting, and professional.
Body language matters. Tone of voice matters. Cultural sensitivity matters.
And don't forget the vocabulary we introduced. Practice rapport, common ground, break the ice, hit it off, keep in touch, and so on.
Yes, these words and idioms will help you sound more natural in English.
Now, a quick review of the new English vocabulary. Rapport, a friendly, harmonious relationship. Common ground, shared interests or viewpoints, icebreaker. A phrase or action that starts a conversation. Break the ice, to begin a conversation or social interaction. Hit it off, to quickly form a good relationship. Keep in touch, to continue communicating. Active listening, fully focusing on the speaker. Professional courtesy, polite, respectful behavior in a business setting. Small talk, casual, light conversation. Filler phrases, short phrases to fill pauses like, let me think.
Those are your key phrases. Try using them in your daily conversations.
Our practical advice for you is simple. Practice starting short chats. Offer sincere compliments. Ask friendly questions.
Remember to listen well. Give the other person space to speak. Balance the conversation.
If you want to network, be genuine. Look for mutual benefits. Follow up on connections you make.
Yes, and keep a positive attitude. Confidence can be felt. When you smile and show warmth, people respond positively.
So please give these tips a try in your own life. We hope it helps you build strong relationships.
Don't forget to share your experiences with us. We'd love to hear your stories.
And if you found this episode useful, please remember to like, subscribe, and comment.
Yes, your feedback means a lot to us. It helps us know what you enjoy and what you want more of.
Thank you so much for tuning in today. We truly appreciate your time.
We hope you feel more confident about starting conversations and expanding your network.
And remember, every conversation can be a chance to learn. Whether it's in person or online, keep practicing those English skills.
That's it for now. We'll see you next time with another exciting topic.
Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful day.